My name is Soren Alf Correia. I am 22. It is November 22nd of the year 2020. Not a lot, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that. 502 followers, but I think the important information is the follower to following ratio, which is not positive in my case. Um, but I don't really use Instagram that much, so that's fair. I don't think it's strange for me to not have all that many followers yet. My most liked picture is this one that I've sort of used as a janky headshot for a little bit. And the caption is basically me being like, I promise I'll post more pictures soon. Expect some photo dumps. And that's the last picture I've posted, which was, I think, like 6 months ago. So I guess I never followed through on my promise to post any more pictures. My connection with Blackwolves, I feel like it goes back for a while just because it's like I've known all of you for a few years at this point. And I've been involved in your like work. I think even before I was really officially affiliated with Blackwolves. Because I think back when we did DNA, I don't think I was in any way really affiliated with it. But just through knowing you guys at college, I think I just slowly ingrained myself within your circle until you were forced to bring me into the Blackwolves family. But as of right now, I'm a creator for it. I do acting and hopefully some writing up and coming. Blackwolves has done a lot towards easing my mind about like what I'm going to do after. Now, I guess not what I'm going to do, but since I still feel like I'm in the space of just having graduated, it's really eased my mind of like moving into the world, still having something to like work towards and like a place to actually like still feel like I'm making progress, even in an industry that's like so like it feels like you're sort of running on sand at times. It's nice to have this place that feels like it's going to like reliably be somewhere that I will be able to work and still pursue things, even if everywhere else it's not really going as fast. Spotlight, without a doubt. I mean, that was just a lot of fun. It was a great part. It was like this fun script. I haven't done as much film up until then, so it was cool to like actually do film in a major way. I'd mostly just done like little short stuff. So to actually have a part that I could work with, you know what I mean? Like in an extended period and sort of track over the course of something longer, I think Spotlight was just an interesting challenge and a lot of fun for me. I was studying abroad in Glasgow, in Scotland, and I had auditioned for Macbeth. Being very literal with when you say like my favorite moment, because my favorite thing in my career was just being cast as Macbeth at all. But I remember going into the callbacks, and I was super unsure about, you know, whether I was going to like end up with any significant part in the show. I had been called back for Macbeth, but I wasn't sure if that was just, so that they could see me again. I wasn't sure exactly much about their theater scene or anything like that. So I was thinking, this is the Scottish play. I'm in Scotland. I'd be happy to be Banquo, but I go in and I do the tomorrow speech. And the best moment was I had finished the speech and I like finally like looked at the director and the co-director, and the director was crying, which was like unreal to me. I've never like had that dramatic of a reaction from anyone after doing something that was so directly like me. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was very validating in a time when I wasn't sure because I was going into a place where no one really knew me, coming out of a place where everyone sort of knew me, and to like get out of the bubble of people and be able to have that sort of like validation of, maybe I actually am onto something here. Like maybe I'm actually working towards something. To have an outsider who doesn't know me and has no reason to be nice to me confirm that was a really powerful moment, I think, for me in my career. It's got to be health. I mean, surely, like at this time, I think anyone who doesn't say health is like probably either lying or not paying attention. But I think like beyond that, making sure I'm not losing momentum, making sure I don't get complacent with where I am right now and continue to work and do things that push me outside my comfort zone, I think probably. I don't think I could fairly say that it's anything other than Lord of the Rings, but I don't think that's because Lord of the Rings is the best movie I've ever seen, which is the tough part of answering that question. Because I feel like I'm really bad at favorite movies. Lord of the Rings is my favorite nostalgic movie. I'll say most influential movie might have to be Scott Pilgrim. I feel like that movie is just so perfect. I'll go with Lord of the Rings, I think. Just final answer. I feel like I couldn't truthfully say anything other than Lord of the Rings. Even though there are other movies that I really respect. That's just gonna all time probably have to be my favorite movie. But currently I'll say I just recently finally watched Knives Out, and that movie's great. I also really like The Lighthouse. I think those sort of three movies encapsulate my very strange, like, niche. I mean, probably pretty obviously maroon. I don't know if this camera picks it up, but I have like a maroon sweater and like a maroon thermal on. I don't know what it is. It's just a good, calming, nice color. Yes, constantly, near constant pressure. I think. I don't know what the ratio of external to internal is, but yeah, all the time. I think anytime I really think about like all the stuff I've done up until now, it's like, well, what would that have been worth if I don't keep going? And I think that's just like a constant sort of pressure to push forward. And I don't know if it's healthy or not. I guess in time will tell. When anyone talks about something relating to art with any degree of like certainty or claim to authority, just find it really frustrating when people sort of like claim some sort of moral or factual high ground on something that has no real objective basis for analysis. You know what I mean? Just anyone who's like a zealot in the way that they defend something or try to perpetrate something. People who don't allow for the possibility of someone else having an alternative narrative or an alternative way of seeing something, particularly when it comes to like art. Anyone who like tries to claim that as like this is the right way to view this is, I think, very frustrating to me, because I don't think that things are that straightforward. I feel like there's so much nuance to like everything that anyone to kind of claim that they know what something means just feels superficial to me. Hi, Soren. This is Soren from the future. I know there's some kind of technology that's allowing us to talk. Let's not get into it too much. I don't really know how it works, but somehow I am talking to you a year in advance. It's going to be all right, you know? You're going to get through it. Trust what you want to do. Trust yourself. Things will work out for you as long as you do what you think is right. And there's this thing called PPE. You're going to want to invest in that. If it's the biggest person I've worked with, it would probably be Mattson Tomlin, because he had been my advisor for my senior project, which I had written a feature-length script for. He had helped with notes and stuff. So he's probably the biggest person I've worked with, but performed with, probably you, Logan. This one's tough too. I'd love to work with either Edgar Wright or Aaron Sorkin in any capacity, but if we're talking about like actors to work alongside, probably Cillian Murphy or Andrew Scott. I find him so fascinating as an actor. I think, at least Shakespeare-wise, he's just like, he has this way of naturalizing things. And like Cillian Murphy, they both have this like intensity, and the way that they like use language, I think, is super interesting. So top four would, I guess, have to, I know you said one person, top four. I'm choosing top four. Aaron Sorkin, Edgar Wright, Andrew Scott, Cillian Murphy. Final answer. I like any artist who is a master of more than one part of the process. So Taika Waititi, who's doing all this directing and acting and writing, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's this incredible writer and actor, and Donald Glover, who does rap and writing and acting, and I don't know if he's done a lot of directing. I imagine he's probably done some. But those types of artists that are like able to switch so fluently between art languages, I just find them to be incredibly inspiring and just eternally baffling. Find the part of the story that relates to you, you know? Find your own story. Whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're acting in something, whether you're writing something. I think the only way to truthfully come at something is to sort of have an understanding of your own story and what it is about that you think is important. And it can be like even the smallest thing, but I think without knowing what your own view of your story is, it's hard to come at any other story with any sort of like truth. Even if it's not like method, I don't necessarily think you have to come at acting from a strictly method sense, but I think just being aware of the effect of the story you're telling and your place within that story is important. I think I said story about 100 times and it probably made no sense, but neither is acting, so good luck. Just like more diversity in stories, not necessarily just like on a surface level, but like true, just like all aspects of it need to be diversified. I don't think we have nearly, it's just so homogeneous, or like homogeneous, or however you say that word. It's just getting so boring. It's like there's a reason why we keep coming back to these same stories, and it's because we refuse to let anyone else tell theirs. And I think it would do the whole industry good to tell new things and allow for new experiences to be given spotlight. Probably Spotify. I think at least actively is probably the most that I use. As far as screen time goes, it might be different. Probably Spotify is the most used app on my phone, though. I'm pretty much constantly listening to either music or a podcast. Backsliding, I guess. I'm living, because of this quarantine and this, or not, we're not really in quarantine anymore, but because of current circumstances being what they are, I'm currently living back at home and saving money to move out eventually. And I find being home brings up a lot of habits and things that I had grown past or thought I had grown past when I was away at college or at my dorm or over in Scotland for a little bit. Like all these things that I've grown through as myself, kind of being back in this environment has put me back in. So I guess just struggling to sort of reckon the two parts of my identity from both like the past and like where I think I've been and where I think I'm going, and trying to figure out if I can, bring those two closer together over time again. Cash it, probably. Is this a monkey's paw thing? Like, is it like if I take the money, I have to kill someone or something? Because that feels like it could be a dangerous slope, and I don't want to get involved with like loan sharks. But I guess if I know if it's clean money, and I'm not getting involved in any funny business, then I would probably, pay off a lot of like family debt stuff. Like, I don't think we have a ton of it, but like, the classic, like all my family student loans, all that stuff, probably put a considerable amount into like bail funds. Probably, I've been planning to move back to Scotland, so maybe do that. I certainly would quit my serving job and probably move somewhere where there's somewhere where there's industry jobs, probably right now, where I'm at right now. So if you want to see more of what I do, I have a podcast with some friends called Good Neighbors. It's on Spotify. You could probably find that and links to that on my Facebook, which is Soren Alf Correia. If you want to add me, say hi. I love to say hi. I have an Instagram, which is Just Another Nerd. There might be underscores in it. Let me check. Yeah, Just _ Another Nerd. No caps. And yeah, besides the podcast and other Blackwolves content, as most of you should be able to find most of my stuff via either my Instagram or my Facebook.